Afternoon, everybody. So I think we'll make a start. So I think I've been gazumped by the MP in the other room at the moment. So we're going to go through my workshop today, which is all about the power of lifelong learning. So what I want to make very clear, got to come there to turn it over, at the beginning, is this isn't a sales pitch. So this isn't a sales pitch for ACL, which is the organisation I work for. This is something that's very dear to my heart, and I really want to try and inspire people in the room to kind of get a feel for lifelong learning, what learning can do to empower you, to empower your friends, family, employees, staff, and so forth, and really get you to kind of think about, that culture of lifelong learning. I want to look at the benefits of learning to ourselves, as well as how it can impact our business, and get people to try and make learning pledges towards the end, sort of like, something that you're going to go away and do as a result. So, I know Henry Ford can be a little bit contentious in some circles. However, I like this quote, and it is that anyone who stops learning is old. Whether at 20 or 80, anyone who keeps learning stays young. And the greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. And as I said, it's one of my favourite quotes, and I really do wholly believe in lifelong learning and the benefits that it can actually bring us as individuals as well as our businesses. For me, every single day is a school day. So it's about learning something new every day. It's whether it's I've learnt the name of the song or the artist that was on the radio this morning, finding out how to screenshot from my phone directly, life-changing, absolutely amazing. So it's those kind of little things. So I'm not just talking about qualifications, getting a degree or the CPD. It's a whole range of things. So when I'm talking about lifelong learning, it's just all of the things that we learn and we absorb. So, how does lifelong learning benefit us as individuals? So there's a few key things up there. So learning something new can change the way you think as well as the way you feel. So there has been so much research going on into the benefits of learning on our brains. So we all hear things around, how learning a new language can, support you to maybe, fight off Alzheimer's or dementia or so forth, doing Sudoku puzzles and so forth. So we're hearing all of this kind of thing. Mindfulness is another one. Love it or hate it. There's lots of proven benefits in terms of that, and actually how we can use that as a learning tool to take some time out for ourselves. And some of the big reports that are coming out, it's around that temporary distraction from the day-to-day, just to help reduce our stress, just to help reduce, what we're thinking about. Because, as professionals, as business people, as parents, whoever it is that we are, we're always thinking about something. It's always like, what am I cooking for dinner? Have I got this sorted out? Is that done? Have I got everything ready for work tomorrow? It's just having that little bit of a break and a little bit of a decompress and stepping away from the day-to-day. I know I've benefited greatly from going back into the office. We're back in all of our centres now across Essex, and actually I hadn't realised how sometimes just sitting in traffic can actually help me do a little bit of decompress rather than hopping from Teams meeting to Teams meeting to Teams meeting. It actually gives you that little bit of headspace and thinking about the traffic in front of me. It's just that kind of a little bit of a break from what our brains seem to get consumed with all of the time. So thinking about ourselves as well, so we've talked about the me time and how it can keep our brain healthy and sharp, but there's also the research that tells us how, when we're looking at qualifications, how that can actually help individuals to progress in life, and actually, how they can move on. And I've got some stats and I need my glasses for that, so bear with 2 seconds. So it's telling us that those that complete a level 2 or 3 qualification are likely to earn between 9 and 16% more, respectively, than somebody without those same level of qualifications. So there's some interesting stories there in terms of actually what do qualifications do for individuals. For apprentices, it's 12% for those achieving a level 2 and 22% for those achieving a level 4 and 5. So again, it's those individual benefits as as ourselves, you know, by gaining qualifications, by supporting staff, that there is actually earning potential there in terms of the qualifications that we hold and how we progress. Not always true of everything. You know, there's many people, very successful business owners, very successful entrepreneurs that don't have those qualifications, but obviously that's not everybody. So it's just something in there to kind of think about and consider, whether that's for yourself, for your staff, as I said, or for friends and family. The new Skills England paper that has recently come out is really pushing for skills providers to make sure that we are providing courses and qualifications for people to increase their social mobility. You know, how can they access work? How can they transition between work? We're not in that kind of a job for life anymore. For a lot of people, we do have to change jobs and change careers and so forth. And how do we enable that to happen? And also, you know, how do we enable, again, our staff, friends and family, and encourage them to think about the learning opportunities that are out there and how that can potentially support them within their careers, not just for now, but for the future. So we've talked about the benefits to health, and we've talked about the you know, the stress reductions and the me time, and how that can help. And it's also, we have as I said, it's not a sales pitch, but it's just something to say in there. We have our community ambassador program, which is really inspiring parents to learn and learn for their children. So to kind of, you know, help the children with homework, you know, children that may be in your care, understanding what they're doing in the classroom. So it's a completely different kind of learning. It's not necessarily related to business or what we're doing, but, you know, in the workplace, but it's an opportunity to learn something to support our children and our families moving forward. So benefits to the business. So it's a little bit more about what it says on the tin. So there is so much benefit to businesses investing in staff training and development, whether that's for yourself as a business owner, whether that's for staff coming through the door, or whether it's for existing staff. So some of the latest reports that are coming out, so things through the LSIP, which is the Local Skills Improvement Plan that's come out through from the Chamber of Commerce, the new skills papers, and so forth. There is a real drive in there about how do we stay ahead of the curve with new technologies and green skills, and these are coming up to the forefront time and time again. So things like AI, how do we use that in our everyday? You know, it's, for me, I'm not quite ready to fully embrace AI yet. It's helped me out of a few holes, but actually I like to write something. You know, if I'm putting a bid together or I'm doing an article, I like to write it because I feel like I've done that. It feels like a massive cop-out if I'm handing it over to AI. But, you know, that's my personal preference. And I think, you know, there's a lot of times I can look at something and think someone's used AI to write that. So, you know, it's, you know, the technology's there. I think there's absolutely a place for it, and it's something, but it's how do we use that? How do we use that effectively in our business? All of the green technologies that are coming out, you know, it's just coming in from, you know, left, right and centre. It's something we've started to look at as part of our curriculum planning, you know, talking to businesses, understanding what do they need in that green skills space, because it's another emerging thing that we don't all know the answers to this. You know, there's things we're being told we've got to hit this target, you know, with all of the green agendas coming out, but what does that actually mean? So from a business perspective, a big part of how we do our, you know, what we're learning is about staying ahead of the curve. Future-proofing, you know, making sure we've got staff with the skills to lead the business on, to make sure that, you know, we are set for the future, that we've got the ability to grow, that we've got the ability to diversify. Thinking about toolkits for success. You know, I'll come on to this a little bit later on, but it's, you know, very much those management skills, you know, the workforce. I think it's something, there's a slide a little bit later about, it's 89%, I believe, of managers don't have formal management training. So actually, there's so many accidental managers out there that they're amazing practitioners, but actually they don't have the management skills, and it's not necessarily their fault, but, you know, you can improve your efficiency, your effectiveness, your productivity if you've got good staff with good management skills. And also as well, I said, again, it's not all just about the qualifications. You know, within within education, we talk about CPD all of the time, so that continuing professional development. So either they're like short courses that you can go on to support your staff. Mental health awareness, understanding mental health. How can that support you to support your workforce? So actually you can potentially reduce some sickness, you can reduce absence just by understanding how that works. Menopause is a massive one at the moment. It's something out there, and if I start stuttering, that's what I'm blaming it all on. But it's very much that, it's a hot topic at the moment. And how do we support that workforce? Where I am, there is a lot of us of a certain age. We've got our own spoken language. We all understand each other. I'm not sure everybody else necessarily does, but it's very much another hot topic that employers do need to be aware of. And I think as well, it's just about having a motivated, confident and efficient workforce. There are stats that explain that, the more you invest in your staff, the more likely they are to stay. And I think sometimes there is resistance within businesses that if you train your staff up, they're all just going to up and leave. Whereas a lot of our stats, a lot of the businesses we work with, we're seeing the exact opposite. And actually people are staying because they feel invested in and they feel valued. So just a few stats. If you can see that okay. So this is just giving a bit of a highlight of the skills landscape in Essex as it currently is. So Essex is the purple, national is the green. And as you can see, we are a little bit below the national averages in Essex in terms of the qualifications that people hold. And as I've said, qualifications aren't the be-all and end-all, but there's some stark stats in there in terms certainly around those level 4 qualifications. Interestingly, with apprenticeships, we're not that far behind the curve. And in the SELAP, when it exists, so like the South Essex local area, which includes down to Sussex and up to Norwich and so forth, we're actually ahead of the curve in terms of our apprenticeship uptake and people completing apprenticeships, which is good news, but again, still a bit behind the national average overall. Again, some stats there. Oh, it's 82%. I knew it was 80 something. So it's 80% of managers who enter a management role have had no formal leadership or management training. So a few other bits up there. So these have come from various different sources, that 63% of UK organisations are currently facing skills shortages. UK organisations not confident about applying either AI or green technologies, which is, again, is quite a significant number there. And I have put something in there around apprenticeships because sometimes they do get a bit of a bad rap in terms of, it's just lots of, 16-year-olds coming through and actually it's not, it's not helping my business. Actually, some of those younger people can really bring a new, fresh perspective, but it's also for existing staff. I am an ex-apprentice myself, so I've done that in a senior leadership role. I did my level 7 apprenticeship, got a master's degree as part and parcel of that, and that has really helped me succeed. So apprenticeships can be for everybody and anybody. So that leads me a little bit onto my journey, and the reason I'm saying this is because it's not just about talking about me, but it's just explaining how I've how I've evolved and got to where I am standing in front of you shaking like a leaf, because this is so far out of my comfort zone. Give me a room full of people and I'm teaching, that's fine, but this is a whole new level. So for me, I left school, mediocre GCSEs, nothing particularly great, wanted to be air cabin crew or air stewardesses as they used to say. We're not allowed to say that anymore. I was too short. So completely, went off really bad careers advice back then, went into catering, just kind of dotted around, went into recruitment, which led me into education, which I've been in for just over 20 years now. So that's where I've ended up staying and worked my way up to senior leadership positions. But I didn't really have any qualifications until I hit my 30s, and I literally woke up one morning and thought, I'm going to do a degree. I did my degree through the Open University, so it's when they were a little bit cheaper, so I lucked out there and before they put all the fees up. But I did my degree. I then thought, actually I quite like this learning malarkey, it's all right. Went on, did a level 5 management qualification, and that actually enabled me to move from where I was into a new position in a new organisation where they were saying a degree is a prerequisite, and all of a sudden it's like, I've got one of those, I can do that. So for me, that was my launch into the next realm, really. And since then, I haven't stopped learning. So, you know, Excel is another thing that comes up time and time again with employers. Excel skills. Mine were rubbish. I was better with crayons. So that was much easier. That's what my spreadsheets used to look like. I can do spreadsheets now. I'm still learning, still got a long way to go, but, you know, I am still on that journey. And as I've mentioned earlier, I did my apprenticeship. It was a level 7 apprenticeship. I got my master's, but I encourage all of my team. So I've got a big team over at ACL, and a big percentage of those are doing apprenticeships themselves at level 4s, at level 5s. We've taken on 5 new apprentices in the team through our projects, and they're bringing a whole new perspective to what we do. I've actually got 2 of them with us today out on the stand who are doing an amazing job, which is fantastic, you know, just getting them talking to people and seeing them grow. So for me, learning is infectious. And it's about, you know, if you get excited about it yourself, that can really help other people kind of, you know, pick up and think, oh, I'll have a go at this as well. So that's where I am in my journey in terms of creating that culture of learning and really bringing people on board. I did have an amazing video, which was a 2-minute video, which was from our awards evening earlier this year. And these were all of our award winners. So they're all adult learners. There's people in there that have got GCSEs, level 5 management qualifications. Some it's been an ESOL, for, which is for English for speakers of other languages, a whole range of different things. And it was amazing. It was such a good video, but apparently the link doesn't work. And I wasn't told that. So I was going to see if a few people maybe wanted to do a bit of acting, but we'll move on from that. I won't put anybody under that pressure. But we do have a YouTube channel, and there is some amazing stories on there, some real inspirations that, you know, again, will hopefully inspire people. So in terms of what's available in Essex, I'm not going to go through all of this in too much detail, but there is so much opportunity out there for us as individuals to learn, as well as, you know, if you're a business owner, for yourself and for your workforce. So apprenticeships are an amazing way to recruit staff and also develop yourself, and they're not always expensive. So we've got a levy transfer service in Essex that can really help pay for those apprenticeships. We've got skills boot camps, another great way for you to recruit staff or to put people onto programs. Again, may not cost you anything, and they're fantastic. We've got adult skills funding. So at ACL, I've got £8 million worth of funding. So, and we want to make sure that we are sharing that with businesses. So we want to talk to you. We want to understand what it is that you want. Where are the skills shortages? Where are the gaps? What can we do to support you as business owners and individuals and employers? Free courses for jobs is another funding pot. Advanced learner loans are still available. There's Multiply, which is all around the maths. That runs out March next year. And then there are a number of different sector bursaries as well. So personally at ACL, we run one called Nightingale for the health and social care sector, and another called Poppins, which is for the early years sector. So there is so much help and support out there. We are one training provider, one college within Essex, and obviously we'd love you to come and talk to us, but there are hundreds of colleges, independent training providers, private sector out there. There's quite a few people here today that I'm sure would love to talk to you about, you know, opportunities and how you can get involved with learning. If you do get things come through from chambers, from wherever, in terms of, you know, surveys around, you know, your skills gaps, can I just encourage you to fill them in, because that really helps us when we are curriculum planning. You know, there's no point we can sit over here and go, oh, this would be great, we'll put all of this provision on, and you're going, well, that's no good for my business, we need this. So we really want that input from you guys to make sure that we're planning, you know, what you need. And as I said, just a thing, it's just to make a learning pledge. My learning pledge is I'm really going to try and persevere with knitting. My master's degree was easier than learning how to knit. So that's my learning pledge, is by the end of the year, I'm going to try and have at least knitted something. So I'm not sure it's particularly relaxing or stress relieving, but that's where I'm going. So yes, if I can just get everybody, just, you know, I haven't got to share that today, but make a pledge, you know, and learn something new and see how that can support you. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you.